Hey, read my lips, people. So today we're going to talk about something a little bit different. It's not anything about, the presidential candidates or anything like that. It's actually about a clip I had seen on progressive YouTuber David Pakman's channel. And usually, I won't do a segment about another YouTuber's channel. That's not in my realm of things to talk about. But some things stuck out to me during this segment, and I said, fuck it. I'm going to talk about it. So I'm going to play the clip, or at least a piece of the clip, and then I'm going to stop the clip and comment on some things as we go along.
This is Rocky Reyna from The Rocky Reyna Show.
Hey, Rocky, what's going on?
I want to point out two different things. First of all, I'm a big fan. I watch your show. I'm also a small YouTuber. And first things first, one thing I know, I'm a conservative. I'm a Native American conservative who has his own show. But I noticed that your kryptonite is Donald Trump. Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't. What do you mean, my kryptonite?
I think that you're a pretty level-headed person. As a conservative, there's a lot of things that I would have very difficulty disagreeing with you, except when it comes to Donald Trump. I think that he clouds your judgment because he's so arrogant.
So what's an example of that?
I see, you know how you put out various videos on YouTube? They're like 4 or 5 minutes?
Yes, we publish videos to YouTube, yeah.
Okay, you tend to nitpick on little insignificant things that I know add up. But in the broader, or for example, when you were on Jesse Lee Peterson's show,
yeah,
he asked you a question. It's not that you didn't answer. He just basically said, well, you don't like Trump. And I could tell you, he really got a rise out of you.
Okay, so first let's stop it there. First thing I have to say is, who the fuck goes on the Jesse Lee Peterson show? I don't get it. I've seen, other lefties go on his show. It's like you're going there to willingly be trolled. That's pretty much what it is. Like, you're not going there to talk about anything of substance. You're not going there to have, an intellectual debate. You're going on there to be trolled. And all he's going to do is talk about the great white hope. Like, he's a cuck, and he's going on there to fucking put his cuckness in your face. I'd get kicked off within 5 minutes. Pakman got kicked off, right? I'd get kicked off much faster than David Pakman did. There's no way. I'm not going to say nothing's impossible, but depending on where my channel goes and how big I become, I don't care if I become the biggest fucking lefty YouTuber ever. There's no way Jesse Lee Peters is going to have me on his show because I'm an alpha and he's a beta. And he's not going to allow me on his show because I fucking put his face in the piss. Like there's no way. Like he's fucking weird. I don't even know why people go on the show. But besides that, the viewer says he agrees with almost everything Pakman says. Like, he has a hard time disagreeing with them, except for when it comes to Trump. And Trump is his kryptonite. And admittedly says, he does a lot of small things which eventually add up. So my question is, what's the problem with Pakman talking about that? You call it nitpicking. I don't really call it nitpicking. I call it telling the truth. And if Pakman only focused on Trump and nitpicked Trump and gave other people passes, then I'd be like, you know what? Maybe there is a bias and Trump is something significant that he tends to go after. But that's not the case. Pakman holds other people accountable, whether they're left or right. Similar to me, whether you're left or right, I hold you fucking accountable. The difference between Pakman and I, and between me and other YouTubers is, Pakman has over 700,000 subscribers. I have 500 something, a little under 600 subscribers. So we're not even in the same ballpark, right? He doesn't even know I exist. However, I'm belligerent. I don't bite my tongue. and I use expletives. So Pakman doesn't do that. He's very poised and astute. You know what I mean? And he has clean language. Some of that is probably because YouTube doesn't like that shit. YouTube does not like you cursing. Clearly, that's not a factor for me. Maybe because I'm so small time. If I was larger, maybe it'd be a different scenario, but that's not the case. So he and I do the same thing. I hold everybody accountable, including Trump, including the Democrats, including Republicans. All right, so let's go back to the clip.
What did I say? How did he get a rise out of me?
You said, no, that's not true. You're not letting me speak. And then he kicked you off the show. But before he did that, it's basically, he asked you, what are the good things that he did? What are some of the good things that he did? And then he said, no matter what he does,
I remember I listed the things. Yeah.
Okay. But for example, for border security though,
right.
To me, that's a pretty rational. What's your objections to that? I mean, I don't know if you have any listeners that live on the border. It's fairly dangerous.
What's my objection to what?
The wall.
The wall's a waste of money, and it doesn't actually deal with the reason people are trying to come here, nor visa overstays, which are a bigger problem than people crossing the wall physically.
Okay, and...
Okay. Wow, okay, so... he accuses Pakman of nitpicking Trump. Sort of segues into Pakman to him asking Pakman, like, what's your issue with, border security, or the wall, etc. And, Pakman said, he listed the things of Trump that, he liked or agreed with or what have you. And he asked him, what's his issue with the wall? And Pakman gives him a fairly detailed answer as to what his problem with the wall is. And the caller, for some reason, was taken aback. Now, he says he's a viewer of David Pakman, so he should have expected Pakman to hit him with facts and logic. But Pakman gives him the answer, and his response is, okay. Like, it was just like he wasn't expecting that. And what it boils down to is he's not doing a good job of proving his point. Let's continue.
For example, and another thing, I don't want to be disrespectful, but you're Argentinian, correct?
I'm sorry, I'm what? I'm Argentinian. Yes, I am.
Okay. Now, would you say you come from like a middle-class background or an upper middle-class background?
No, my family left Argentina because we had no money and the economy imploded. So we came to the U.S. with nothing. And then my dad, he had to go back through, he was a doctor in Argentina, which sounds luxurious, but it's not. Trust me, doctors in Argentina in 1989 were not making any money. He had to reestablish himself as a doctor here in the U.S. And I guess like 10 or 12 years after we were here, he finally started making, a good salary. But no, I mean, our first 10 years here in the U.S. were not particularly easy.
I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that it just seems that the majority of social media personalities on YouTube, or just in general, they come from a very upper middle class background. So
like
they don't understand the struggle.
So I didn't come from that, but who are you thinking of?
Well, for example, no disrespect, you, Sam Cedar,
No,
Ben
but we
Burgess,
just figured out that that's not the case. My family left Argentina with no money, and we figured out that doesn't apply to me. I don't know about Sam's background.
Have you ever lived in a dangerous neighborhood? Do you hear gunshots at night? Did your parents pay for your college?
I live in Massachusetts. So Massachusetts as a state there's very few parts of Massachusetts where you're hearing gunshots at night. I just don't know what point you're trying to make.
All right. And this right here, this is what made me want to do this segment on Read My Lips. The rest of the shit we've gone through already is sort of like, whatever. It's kind of milquetoast compared to this part. So he completely makes this up. He says, most of the progressive YouTubers come from middle class background. How do you know that? Where did you get that information from? You completely made that up. You pulled that out of your ass, right? And then Pakman tells you he's not from, that middle class or upper middle class background. You completely ignored that because you then reiterated when he asked you, who are you talking about? He said, you, Sam Cedar. So after he said you told him your story and that it doesn't apply to you. He then lumps you back in it immediately, which is fucking weird, which means he's not listening, right? He's not listening to you. So you proved you weren't, and then there's me. I don't come from that either. Not only do you debunk, because he said majority, so that would mean most of the left-wing YouTubers, right? Whether they're big or small. Again, we've already stated that I'm a small YouTuber, such as himself. The caller says he's a small YouTuber. So I've already debunked it with myself because I don't come from that background. And then Pakman debunked it because he doesn't come from that background, but he continues to drill forward with his theory, pretty much stating that left-wing YouTubers don't know the struggle. Now, I don't know what that fuck has to do with anything. I don't know what the struggle has to do with policy. And B, you have to go through a struggle to actually speak on common sense things. Like, I don't understand. I don't see the correlation, right? He asks some dumbass shit like, have you ever heard gunshots in the night? Have you lived in a dangerous neighborhood? What the fuck does that have to do with the price of beans? Absolutely nothing. You don't have to go through that bullshit to use facts and logic. You don't have to. Like, what the fuck does that have to do with the price of beans? Like, you're trying to correlate two things that have nothing to do with each other. And it's kind of insulting. It's kind of insulting because Pakman doesn't have to go through that. Sam Cedar doesn't have to go through that. Kyle Clancy doesn't have to go through that. Progressive Voice doesn't have to go through that. Nobody has to go through that shit to speak about common sense policies and speak on things that should be changed and corrected, right? And this is coming from somebody who has gone through that shit, right? I've gone through it. I hear what they're saying, and I fucking agree with them, right? I've lived in dangerous neighborhoods, right? So, having lived in dangerous neighborhoods, I can hear what they're saying, and what they're saying makes sense. So, logically, what that tells me is they don't gotta live in that shit. They don't have to live in that shit. So I'm not even sure why he's bringing it up. It's fucking weird, right? It's a weird thing to call his show and speak on. And first of all, he started off with Donald Trump is a kryptonite. I don't even know how he segued into this bullshit. But let's continue.
What I'm trying to make is that a lot of progressives that I see, they don't really have, they want something, but they're advocating for people that come from a struggle. And I think when you overcome adversity by yourself on your own, you look at things a lot differently, especially
but isn't
if you're a
that
person of
empathy?
color.
Like, isn't that good? Don't we want people who can say, hey, even if I don't need something myself, this is still a good thing for the government to do because I'm thinking about other people. Like, that's called empathy. That seems like a good thing.
So he said some stupid shit. He said, so I just think when you overcome adversity on your own, you look at things differently. No, wrong. I tell you that's wrong. You're wrong. You just made that up. Stop making things up. You just made that up, right? You're working backwards from your own conclusion. I'm telling you that is not the case. So I'm not sure where you pulled it. Like, where did you read that? You just pulled that out of your ass. So, and then Pakman says, well, isn't that empathy? This caller gives no fuck about empathy, right? He's working backwards from his own conclusion. Let's continue.
Well, yeah, it's 2019, and empathy is going to get anything accomplished, with all due respect. What gets things accomplished is hard work, a strong work ethic, and logic. And I know when it comes to Trump, he's the most logical person in the world. But
empathy never got anything done, so what the fuck is the point of it? Because it's necessary. What the fuck do you mean? And what gets things done is a strong work ethic and logic. Yo, listen, caller, there are people that are busting their ass that I know personally. I know people personally, right? I know this is anecdotal, but and take it how you will, that are working 2 jobs, that are working 40 plus hours and can barely afford to survive, barely afford to live, right? Half of America makes $30,000 or less, and it's not because they're lazy, right? So people need a little bit more than a strong work ethic. And from what I've seen, the lefty YouTubers are all using logic. So what the fuck are you talking about? Let's continue.
Yeah, it's unclear whether that's even legal. All right, Rocky, listen, I guess you've made a number of different points, and I appreciate you calling in, okay?
Okay, can you do me one favor? Because like I said, I have my own YouTube channel, and even though I'm a conservative, I'm a diehard fan. I watch your show. Can you just say, because I have you on my microphone, can you say, thank you for watching the Rocky, or say,
no, listen, I can't do that because I have no idea anything about your show or what it is that I would be endorsing, so that's not something I can do today.
Oh man! All right. Well, hopefully I'll come out on the YouTube channel. If you watch my show, I'm not like one of those alt-right, but I'm, just it's a satirical show. But all right.
All right. Good. Very good. Rocky, thank you so much for the call. I very much appreciate it.
So then, Rocky, the caller, has the audacity to ask for a shout out at the end of the conversation. You dead ass? Are you serious? Not that he was super disrespectful or anything during the call. He was just basically spouting a lot of nonsense. But you basically called to the show, told him he doesn't understand the struggle because he is a middle class guy from wherever, which he was wrong about. Told him Trump was his kryptonite. And pretty much shit on him, right? Respectfully. It's fucking weird to ask for a shout out at the end of that. He's lucky he even made it onto the segment that got uploaded to YouTube, to be honest. But no, I felt like I needed to talk about it because I heard the segment and it was whatever. It really didn't, catch my attention until that middle part where he said, most left-wing YouTubers are progressive YouTubers, have never gone through the struggle. They've never gone through the struggle. So they don't know what they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, pretty much. Or why are you an upper middle class person speaking on the struggle of people who've never fallen into your tax bracket? Such a weird fucking way of looking at it. And you pulled that out of your ass. You have no idea where these people come from or where they were raised or how they came up. And David gave you a perfectly good example of his situation and how at one point he was poor and had no money. And, his parents, or his father, used work ethic, hard work, and logic to overcome adversity. So you should be thankful. You should be proud that he did that, right? That's how you stand. That's where you stand, right? So I just found it interesting. Again, I usually don't do segments like these. You can go through my channel and say I've never done anything like this, but it stood out to me. And if another YouTuber has a segment like this and things stand out, I'll speak on it. Let me know in the comment section, how do you feel about me doing videos like this or segments speaking on other YouTubers and a segment that may pique my interest? Let me know how you guys feel about that. If you like what you see, if you like what you hear, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And if you don't, let me know in the comment section why. And don't be like, because you ain't from the upper middle class, don't say no dumb shit like that in the comments, because I'll come for your neck. All right. Hopefully I'll be talking to you. And Rocky, don't comment on this either if you find it. You don't want the smoke. Hopefully I'll be talking to you guys soon. Have a good one. Peace.